Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin. So today I figured since I just completed the 1,000-mile road trip with the car and the 1,000-mile review on it, I might as well talk about whether if it's a good road trip car altogether and what I thought of it, and you know, if you're considering using a Tesla Model 3 versus a Model Y or Model X, can you do a road trip with it? I figured I'd talk about that today. And so with that being a matter of fact, I'm going to absolutely say that yes, you can do a road trip with a Model 3. It is a little bit of a compact car. That's what I noticed myself, but there is very much a lot of room inside the Model 3. It kind of feels like a Honda Civic as far as the room goes for it, but it's just a little bit more compact. You minus the fact that you have a lot more trunk space in the rear, and a lot more what is it, actually not more, but you have a frunk, so you have a second trunk as well. That is also very useful. Not only that, but the amount of space you can store everything in here is really nice. That came out to be pretty handy in my circumstance. With my circumstance, I had to haul some things for some of my family, bringing stuff up here as well, and as well as coming up back here myself. And yeah, so pretty much. I do want to talk about, the ups and downs on it. The upside is that it's very nimble. Traffic was very easy to maneuver with this car. It was also very fun to drive. It was really safe too. I felt like, for some reason, I felt that since it was really techy and whatnot, I felt like it was a really safe car to drive. That helped out a lot as far as, drivability goes with it. But the other thing is too, I felt like the car itself, it was definitely watching out for you specifically. It was monitoring how I was doing, whether if I was getting tired, or whether if I was wide awake, what I was doing, and how the car was performing. And I also want to talk about the upsides with it, like with the auto steer and the autopilot, and it always made sure that I was paying attention, that everything was okay, and everything was going according to plan with how I was driving. So the other thing with that too is the autopilot, it was nice in case something happened to me. The car was able to react quickly and swiftly. The cameras were nice to use, with helping out with blind spots and things like that. The visibility in this car altogether is absolutely amazing. It's honestly one of the most visible. It's one of the few compact cars that I've ever compact cars that I've ever driven that's got this much visibility. I've actually never seen a car with this much visibility as much as the Model 3, and it's just absolutely amazing. Handles nicely. It's very torquey. Yeah, overall it was a great car to drive. The one thing I didn't like about it is that since I'm a really tall person, sleeping in it overnight was a little bit uncomfortable. But I got used to it the first night. The second night, the first night was okay. I figured it was more figuring out how I should sleep in the car, and then the second night I was able to knock out no problem. And definitely I would say if you're going to consider doing a road trip in the Model 3, do it with either yourself or just one other person. If you have two people, I would say 2 people is the limit with it. If you have 3 people, it's going to be an issue. 4 people, definitely I'd consider buying, like doing a road trip in a different car. That would be my recommendation. But overall, you know, I liked how the car navigated itself to the nearest charging station, or picked out charging stations nearby, and you were able to set where you were going when you were leaving, and it kept up with traffic. The infotainment system was absolutely amazing, especially if you had to sit at the supercharging station for a half an hour, 40 minutes. Which also allowed me to sleep at night too, by the way. When you're at a supercharger at night, definitely I recommend also taking naps too, just in case, because you're going to sit there for half an hour anyway, half an hour, 45 minutes, so why not get a 15-20 minute nap and then re-energize yourself if you could. So that'd be my recommendation if you're going to use one of these. Also, the blind spot sensors in this thing is just absolutely amazing. Like, no other car can tell you how many cars are up ahead of you just on your screen. No other brand does that. But yeah, absolutely, if would I do it again? 100%. I think it's absolutely a great car to do it with. If you're considering doing it with a Model 3 and you're by yourself, go ahead. I absolutely say go ahead, do the road trip with a Model 3. If you're doing it with your family, or what is it, just a friend or somebody, I don't recommend taking more than 2 people ever. If you do it with a full car, I would say don't even consider sleeping in it at night. I'd probably say go ahead and get a hotel. That's how I'd go about it. But yeah, the trunk space was amazing. You know, the front space up front helped out a lot too. It really balanced the car. Even though this thing's 48, I think it's like 4,700 pounds altogether, something like that. It really doesn't feel it at all. You could throw it around a corner and it would stay planted, because it's just got such a low center of gravity with this thing. It's not even funny, you know. But that's just my take of it. I'm gonna do more road trips as the channel grows and whatnot, for cycling, for car stuff, and just, you know, overall drivability, you know what I mean? So this way you guys get a more in-depth review with it. And this is just a standard range, you know. This is not the long range, this is not the performance, this is the most basic Model 3 that you can get, and it's just an absolute blast to drive. You know, I would absolutely do it again. And to answer your question, if you can do a road trip in a Model 3, absolutely. Or just a Tesla in general, absolutely. It's doable, it's manageable. It'll find the nearest charging station whenever you need one. Or just an EV in general. You can do it in an EV. You just have to do it a little bit differently. Like, this car navigated itself to different charging stations that were just slightly different off than what I normally take between Chicago and Tampa. And yeah, so pretty much, but it took care of all that stuff for me. It found nearest charging stations that I can make it to, that'll allow me to. And then it also, what I did like too is, if it felt like I was not going to make it to the charging station, it would lower down, it would limit its speed as to how fast you can travel, and still give you that satisfaction to keep up with flow of traffic and things like that. And then also maybe even shut off the AC or any radio or something, so this way you can ensure that you can make it to that charging station. That's one thing I did notice. It'll adapt itself to make it so that this way it allows you to get to the next charging station without any faults. My advice though, if you were to do a road trip with an EV, don't just charge it to where you need the bare minimum to make it. absolutely stay the extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is you need to charge it to full, because you never know. I noticed this car does not account for charging levels with traffic, and I didn't want to find that out the hard way, so I always charged it up all the way to full every single time. Plus, it allowed me to sleep an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes every single time that happened. So, my recommendation, if you do it with an EV, is make sure to always charge it to full, so that this way you ensure that you can get to each and every charging station. And this thing is an absolute blast to drive to, and you get to rest, so why not? You know what I mean? Especially if you're going on YouTube looking at different videos, or listening to Spotify, or looking at your Sentry mode, playing around with the farts and the different things and whatnot, the different gimmicks that the car has in general. And not only that, but you also get a lot of attention for people who want to buy an EV and are asking questions constantly if they're actually worth it or not. And absolutely, my answer is yes, they are absolutely worth it. If I were you, I would definitely go ahead and give it a shot. If you're thinking about using a Tesla for a road trip, absolutely do it. It's a blast to drive. It's a blast to use. You get to use a lot of the crazy features that Teslas have and things like that, and it's absolutely worth it. So, with that being said, hey guys, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and conclude the video. For now, I'll see you guys in the next video. More content to come, cycling related, car related. We'll start hitting the track with racing on the bike, and racing on the car, and well, just in general doing performance test related stuff and things like that. And then as the channel grows, more trips to come, things like that. So stay tuned to the next video. I think my camera dies because it gets too hot with the media mod. I have been having issues with Purple Panda lately, so who knows. I'm gonna try and figure that out and go from there. But yeah, stick around to the next video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.